Hello. Hello, you guys. This is Jenna. We're going to get right into the topic. This is about how to shrink your stomach. All right? So if you guys can hear me, go ahead and hit the heart buttons for me. Okay, so I learned some ways on how to shrink your gut. Okay? Because I know you guys would love to know. All right? First and foremost, I am a holistic practitioner. If you are dealing with any of the issues that I'm talking about during this video, make sure you get your one-on-one, and it is pinned. You go to the green button and you get your membership so you can get a one-on-one with me so we can get some things solved. Okay, so first and foremost, if you have an issue with having a big stomach, one thing you have to do is you have to get your insulin levels down, okay? And I know the trick. I know exactly what to do and what you can take. So make sure you get in touch with me. But yes, you have to get your insulin levels down. Insulin is very important, but yet it can cause issues if you produce too much, okay? So insulin levels being high, hello. Insulin levels being high will lead to you storing more fat. And the fat is actually stored around the abdomen. Okay? So one thing you want to do is you want to get that insulin level down. Let me put up this poll. You guys tell me if you can see this poll. Okay. Do you guys see this poll that I just put up? I just want to know. You see a poll. If not, that's cool. Okay. So the second thing you want to do is you want to drink your required amount of water. You would be surprised if you don't drink enough water, your stomach is going to protrude. Your stomach is going to, you do? All right. So you guys answer that poll. And I think it's, do you need to lose weight? Answer that poll for me, okay? Let me drink some water. Yeah, drink your water. Do you guys know what water does for you? First of all, it hydrates you. Secondly, it's going to help you get rid of trapped waste. A lot of us are just carrying around between 10 to 25 pounds of extra weight, maybe more, in our gut. So if you're carrying around all of that baggage, all of that food that hasn't been broken down and removed, your stomach is going to get bigger. So drinking water will help you. No laxatives. We're not going to do laxatives. Laxatives will make you dehydrated. It'll make you get rid of too much. It'll make you get rid of things that are important, which will increase your gut, if you will, okay? Which brings me to another thing, since I actually mentioned gut. Your gut health is very important. Let me get back to the sugar. Sugar ruins your microbiome. Sugar ruins the natural good bacteria that's in your gut, okay? So if we have two types of bacteria. We have good bacteria and we have bad bacteria. So when our sugars are high, unfortunately, you're feeding the bad bacteria, and then the bad bacteria is going to be higher than the good, and then the good is going to eventually die off, and then that's how your gut is always going to feel protruded. You're going to feel gassy and all of that. Who in here gets bloated a lot? Anybody? Go ahead and just say me. Okay? Because a lot of us were diagnosed with things called irritable bowel syndrome. Who in here has irritable bowel syndrome, which is like a host of just different symptoms that they just called irritable bowel syndrome. Just like PCOS is a bunch of symptoms that they just put under this, one little blanket statement, if you will. But it's just a group of different, symptoms like you know, bloat and pain and discomfort and all the other things you go through when you have irritable bowel syndrome. Sometimes you go through that when you eat the wrong thing. Okay, another thing. You want to make sure that if you have issues with your gut, or you want to basically get a smaller abdomen or whatever, you want to stop eating as much wheat gluten. A lot of us, we have a gluten allergy. Did you guys get that? You have a gluten allergy. So that affects your gut walls, and it'll cause you to protrude. You'd be surprised. Sometimes it's not like a fat thing. It's just that you have just inner workings of your gut is just not good, and it just protrudes. That's what we call distension. Okay? A lot of us who have issues with our gut or have big guts, we don't eat enough, which brings me to the next tip. You gotta eat. Okay? So during your work day, like if you get up 7 a.m. in the morning or 8, I don't know. What times do y'all get up in the morning? Go ahead and type them up. I would love to know what time you get up in the morning. I tend to get up around 8:30. Okay? But when you get up in the morning, the first thing you do, of course, you thank God for waking up. But secondly, you go and brush your teeth. And thirdly, you drink water. Water should be the first thing to hit your gut. Not food, not cereal, not none of that. You know what I mean? You want to basically drink a whole bunch of water. And then the second thing that should hit your gut is a piece of fruit. So I like apples. That's what I do. And I cut up one apple and I eat it throughout the day. That's just what I do. I don't eat one apple at a time. Hi, I see you, Miss... What's your name? Hi, Miss Sylvia. Okay, so I got some 7 a.m. I got some 5:30. Oh, gosh. I'm still in dreamland at 5 o'clock. So wait. So if you guys get up that early, when do you go to bed? What time do you guys go to bed? Because the later you go to bed and then you still rise, because the thing about it is our bodies naturally get up. It doesn't matter if you go to bed at 2 o'clock in the morning. It's going to get up around that time. How many hours are you guys working on a day of sleep? Yeah, when do you guys go to bed? Okay. So we got some 10 p.m.s. Okay. Okay. So just as long as you're getting your 7 to 9 hours of rest, that's very important, okay? Because you're going to have a big stomach if you don't. And I'm going to tell you why. That insulin is going to be up very high. It's going to cause you to have all kinds of problems with, some people have diabetes, and sometimes it's just because you're not getting enough rest. Okay, 10 p.m., 9 p.m. Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, you would have to go to bed early to get up at 5. But it's most people who get up at 5. Some people don't go to bed until 12 midnight or even worse. And then they're working on 3 to 5 hours of sleep. It affects your brain. It affects your hormones. Your hormones are all over the place, which is going to cause you issues with your stomach. So really what I'm talking about today, I'm not talking about like the outside fat of your stomach. Like some people just have flabby stomachs, but they're not like protruding and it doesn't look like you're pregnant. That's a whole nother situation. That's what I'm talking about today. And then of course, like if you have once your stomach starts to go down, you'll see, okay, you have some fat hanging there. And then with that, just some cardio, a little bit of cardio, like walking, lowering your sugar, all of that, it'll start to go away over time. Because a lot of us, what we do, unfortunately, we're getting these, you know, tummy tucks and all of these different cosmetic surgeries that cause issues down the line. That's why I love doing this job, guys, because I'm letting you know that's not the answer. You know, having all of these problems, all of these surgeries is causing more problems down the line, because it takes healing time, right? So if you go and you get a surgery, I'm just going to get a tummy tuck and I'm going to get I'm going to take the fat from my abdomen and put it in my posterior so I can have a nice little shape. Okay, that's cool, but it's going to take time for that to heal. And that time to heal could cause you other issues down the line. That's why most people who have those surgeries, unfortunately, you start to have more surgeries, because it's still going to come back because you never dealt with the root cause of the problem. Okay, so yeah, you got to check that insulin, make sure that insulin's good. Insulin resistance, a lot of women with PCOS, you're going to have insulin resistance, and yes, your gut is going to be bigger, okay, than someone who doesn't have insulin resistance. If you have blood pressure problems, okay, got to get that together and get in contact with me, okay. I help people with high blood pressure and people with type 2 diabetes and PCOS and all of that. Okay, another reason why you may have issues with your abdomen, you could have some problems going on with some fibroids or cysts, or, you know, just hormones, estrogen. High estrogens will cause you to have a larger abdomen. How do you know you have estrogen problems? If you have heavy cycles, if you're overweight, if you have a big stomach, if you have a big butt, that's a lot of estrogen going on, guys. And so you have to make sure that you are getting that underway. You know, women who are on birth control pills, your estrogens are going to be very, very high. You know, that's why I don't suggest people take birth control pills or any kind of, you know, contraceptive or whatever the stuff they're given, because it's crazy that, you know, people say that, you know, take this and this is going to help you have better cycles. But no, it's going to make you have painful cycles. It's going to make it worse. It's going to cause you all kinds of issues. And that's just coming from different women that I've talked to. You know, I guess, you know, there's some success stories out there with contraceptive pills. I'm sure there are. But I haven't talked to anyone. And I haven't experienced that. When I was taking, you know, birth control back in the day, 20 years ago, I didn't like how it made me feel, you know, so I just took myself off of it and did other things to help me. Because the reason why they put me on it was because of PCOS. So I was diagnosed with PCOS when I was around 22 years old, and I was like, you know what, I want to have children. I didn't like the way it made me feel. It made my cycles heavy. It made them painful. You know, I just didn't like how it just made me feel. I didn't like the side effects of it. Thank you for sharing. I didn't like the side effects of it as far as what they said they could happen. Oh, once you're 35 and you can't do that. I said, oh, heck no. I didn't want to deal with that. So I just said, you know what, whatever. And so I had to do some real drastic things to bring my cycles back on, to help them not be so bad and all of that. But the main thing I had to do was I had to basically go to the root cause, which is the things that I've been talking about, the diabetes, the high blood pressure. It's funny, like if you have type 2 diabetes, more than likely you're going to have high blood pressure, because those two kind of work together. You usually don't have one without the other. I mean, it could be true, but I'm just saying from experience, I've seen that it kind of works together. Because when you have a lot of sugar in your system, it makes you hyper. You know, with children, they say don't give them sugar because they have a natural kind of energy pack in them. They don't need sugar. And so if you're a diabetic, you don't need sugar because you have a problem with, you know, processing sugar correctly. So when you put more sugar in your body, you're going to have problems with relaxing. You're going to have problems with sleeping. Miss Sylvia says she has them both. Yeah. You're going to have problems with weight loss because high sugars cause weight gain. They cause fat storage. So it's just a nasty kind of like flume of issues. You know, you really have to just hone in and get that sugar down. There are some great supplements that I know about that can help you get your sugar down just like that. I take them myself every day. I'm in my 40s now, and now I have to do a little more now that I'm in my 40s versus when I was in my 30s and my 20s. You know what I mean? I have to do more. I have to do some stress management. I had to do some weight management. I had to lose some weight. I had to get my blood pressure underway. I had to increase my water. I had to make sure that I'm regular, which is another reason that this is very important for estrogen purposes. So if you're a person who doesn't use the restroom or use the bathroom twice a day, you are building up on estrogens and you may not even know it. You know, when constipation affects our liver is the organ that helps us to detox. It also helps us to get the estrogens out of our system. So yes, if you have a big gut, you could also have issues with your liver. Liver wellness is very important when you have issues with diabetes, high blood pressure, PCOS, all of those things. The liver has to help be in good condition to help you with those conditions, or it'll get worse. Okay? Does anybody have any questions? I know I've said a lot, and I have a lot more to say, but I want to make sure you guys are still with me. So hit those heart buttons to let me know that you are still with me. Okay? So guys, you do know this. Don't drink your sugars. Okay, let's talk about some myths out there about the cranberry juice. Okay, cranberry juice is awesome, it helps, whatever, but not the cranberry juice that we buy on, at the store. That's too much sugar. If you're watching this right now in your home and you have some cranberry juice in your refrigerator, I want you to go ahead, pause this video, and I want you to go and look at the bottle of that cranberry juice. Okay, first and foremost, it's going to say from concentrated or concentrated. Anything that's concentrated is potent, and it's usually with sugar. Okay, so the sugar content might be a half a cup, might be a serving, and a half a cup could be 20 or 30 milligrams or grams of sugar. Okay, no, and this is why we're not losing the weight. This is why we're still getting the type of infections that we're getting, because you're drinking your sugars. Never do that. It goes straight to your system, spikes your sugar, causes a stress response. And I'm going to let you know that when your stress is up, your gut is going to be affected. Stress affects everything in our gut. It affects the microbiome. It affects the way that we eliminate. It affects the way that we eat. Okay, so if you're stressful, you're not going to have an appetite, or you're going to have a voracious appetite. Okay, that's why a lot of people who are intermittent fasting, you're probably highly stressed, because the less you eat, the more stressed out you're going to be. So no, if you want to lose your gut and you want your gut to get smaller, do not, I repeat, do not intermittent fasting. Don't do that. Okay, because it's going to cause problems down the line. Okay. One thing you have to understand is this. We fast while we're sleeping. Okay? That's why it's good for you to sleep. If you're only sleeping 3 hours, you're not really 27 grams. There you go. You're not really healing at all, really, to be honest, if you're not sleeping. Okay? You're not healing, and you're not getting rid of. Let's talk about sleep for a minute. I don't think people understand what happens when you sleep. It's not that you're missing out on anything. What you're doing is you are giving your whole body a break. And while your body is sleeping, it is also burning fat. It's also recalibrating, like your brain and all of that. It's healing. That's the only time you're able to heal, and that's the only time really that you're able to de-stress. So when you wake up in the morning, your cortisol levels are high a little bit, so you can get up. So the worst thing you want to do in the morning is eat anything sugary or drink anything sugary. It's kind of backwards. This is just the standard American diet, which is sad. They kind of program us to do this. And so now they're programming us to intermittent fasting. So that is just exposing ourselves to more stress. Okay, because the longer you go without eating, your body has to circulate more sugar that your liver stores up for a rainy day. Your liver likes to put a little bit of sugar in your system while you're sleeping, so you don't, pass in your sleep. I mean, that's how we're able to go all that time with no water and no food, because our bodies are kind of like equipped for that time. So if you're fasting while you're sleeping, and then you're fasting, that intermittent fasting, eventually you're not going to sleep anymore, because you're not going to have it both ways. The body's not going to allow you to have this peaceful sleep while you're starving. It's just not going to happen. So then other things start to happen. So no, you don't need to do that. That's just my opinion. I know it's, some people may not agree with that, because they're kind of programming us to eat less. And I kind of figure out why they're telling us that, but you're going to have to kind of think for yourself. I can't put it out there, but just think about it and why they're saying, you know what? Stop eating. Don't eat anymore. Let's not eat. Let's eat once a day. It's several reasons why they're telling people that. And it's up to you to actually listen to it. And so to keep your stress levels down, to keep your metabolism, that's another thing too. When you don't eat, you're not working your metabolism. A metabolism needs food for it to work. So if the less food you're using, the less your metabolism needs to cut on. If you get what I'm saying, like, it's not going to cut on an empty stomach. That's just not what it's going to do. Why? Because you're going to waste away and you're going to die. And our bodies are built to survive. We're always in survival mode. Whether you know this or not, our bodies is hardwired to survive. And it'll do that, like Malcolm said, by any means necessary. Even if that means it's going to eat and take its calcium from your teeth, it'll do that. It'll take protein from your hair, it'll do that. That's why your hair will start to thin if you start doing different regimens like keto and all of this stuff, and veganism. Veganism is okay, but I don't think it's for everyone. And if you're vegan and you're doing it incorrect, you're going to lose some things because your body is going to take what it needs. Regardless, it's going to take sugar from where it needs to. It'll take it from your muscles. That's why you start to lose muscle when you don't eat enough. And so when you're losing muscle, guess what you can't do? You can't burn fat. And so what's the point in just starving yourself? That's the worst thing you can do. I'm sure a lot of people are saying that when you actually listen to them. No. So we're going to eat every 3 to 4 hours. What you eat is up to you. Just eat small little meals just to keep that your body saying, okay, I'm not in starvation mode. Because when your body is in starvation mode, it is going to start to store stuff. And then your gut will, in turn, be nice and bloated. Okay? You remember those commercials back in the day of the children like in Somalia and Africa, and they were so unfortunate. And the kids, did you see how their stomachs look? You go ahead and type it up. To the people who know what commercials I'm talking about. This is back in the 80s and the 90s. We don't see those anymore, do we? Not saying they don't exist, but they don't show those children anymore. But how did their stomachs look? And this is how I came to this theory, because that kind of like popped in my head one day. Like, you know what? My gut's probably like this because I'm not eating enough. And I just pictured those children. Those children had big, bloated stomachs, but they were starving. They didn't have food to eat. And so their bellies were swollen. And so take that and just put it with yourself and say, oh, this is why my stomach is bloated like this. And all the while they say, well, bloating is, a part of women's life, a part of PMS and things like that. But no, you don't have to go through that. Eat something, okay? So once you start eating, digestion is key to having a flatter belly or a smaller belly. So if you're not digesting well, you're going to have a bigger stomach. So digestion starts in the mouth. So once you start like chewing and things like that, guess what? It turns the engine on in your stomach to produce acids and to produce what it needs to break down food. That's why, another reason why intermittent fasting is not the best, because when you do you eat slow or do you eat fast? When you're hungry, you're going to eat fast. And the reason why I know about this is because I watch a lot of mukbangers, okay, on YouTube. I do. Don't know why. I just got interested in it because my YouTube channel, we also eat food, and I just wanted to learn. And some people are able to eat more food than others. And I noticed that the people who are able to eat more food, they eat faster. And the reason why they do this is because they don't want their brains to register that they are full. Okay, so that's why it's not good. And they also intermittent fast. But if you actually watch them, like when I watch them, I see the bloat, I see their hands swelling up, I see the weight creeping on. I'm like, oh, that's just, they don't even know it, but it's just not good to do. Pile your body up with all that food at one time. It's kind of sort of eating disorder like, you know what I mean? Even if they may not know that, that's what it is when you're piling your body up like that. But yeah, so when you go all day without eating, then when you do eat, you eat really, really fast. So you're going to consume more calories, you're going to consume more carbs, more fat, and your body is not going to know what to do with it. So it may not digest it at all, and then it just sits in your gut, and then you're bloated. How many times have you eaten, and then right after you've eaten, within 30 minutes, you are bloated? You look like you're pregnant. You know? Fast eater and more yeah, exactly. You eat too fast. And so you want to kind of like ride the beat when you are eating. Take your time. That's why when you have a job, you usually have an hour break for lunch, usually. Okay? And take that hour to enjoy your meal. Not 15 minutes, not having to scarf stuff down or force yourself to have like snack foods and things like that, because that's going to encourage your body to produce more sugar. Okay? So just, you know, like a sandwich. You know what I mean? Like if you make sandwiches for lunch and things like that, instead, like if you can take maybe half a sandwich, you know, and eat that at one time and then eat the next half later. Like that's what I do. I do small meals. There's no possible way I can eat a whole sandwich at one time. I have been such a strict eater for over 10 plus years. My stomach is very small. And when I say stomach, I mean my organ, the organ of the stomach. I can't eat a whole bunch at one time. I've trained myself to eat sporadically, like every few hours. I'll take one bowl and I'll take like 3-4 times. I'll eat out that bowl of bone. You know, I can't eat like big plates. Like back in the day I could go to a buffet and eat 2-3 plates. But I can't do that anymore, because when you stop eating sugar, your stomach, the organ, will shrink on its own. That's why I get kind of sad when I hear when people have tummy tucks or tummy staples and all of that stuff that they get to their stomach. I'm like, honey, if you just lower your sugar intake, that stomach is going to go right on in. Because your stomach's a muscle. I don't know if you guys know that or not. It is a muscle. And so you can train it to take however much food you want it to, you know, to do. Now, you don't want it to be too small now, because then you'll go into like starvation if you can't eat. You know, I can eat, but can I sit there and eat a whole plate and 2 sandwiches? Like, but when I was in my 20s, I could eat like a whole sub. I can't do that now. You know how people say, oh my gosh, I can't eat the way I used to. It's because your body starts to change and your hormones start to change. That hunger hormone and things like that, everything starts to change when you get older and when you start to acquire new lifestyle regimens. It just does it naturally. So you don't have to have a surgery for your stomach to shrink. You just have to just change your way of eating, change your stress levels, and all of that will kind of just shrink on its own. Okay, so I hope this helped you guys out. Oh, another thing. Sometimes when we are hungry, we're really thirsty. Sometimes we misconstrue being thirsty as being hungry. So if you're having like, if you know you've eaten and you know that, hey, this is too soon for me to eat again. Okay, how about this? Drink some water. Okay? Drink some water, and that water will not necessarily, it'll fill your stomach, yes, but it'll do what it needs to do. Sometimes you just need to circulate some more nutrition through your body from the meal that you've just eaten. Okay? And they say that you're not supposed to eat and drink at the same time. What I'm giving you guys is little tidbits on what to do to help your gut. Okay? Do not eat and drink. That is a horrible habit. And luckily I was raised to not do that. Do not eat and drink. I mean, I used to sneak a little drink here and there, but you don't want to do it. Now, the older people used to say, oh yeah, go ahead and you know, fill up your gut with water so you don't eat as much, because they were very like meticulous about weight too. But what they say is before you eat, you maybe 20 or 30 minutes before you eat, just drink some water. And that'll help basically the food to start to, when it gets down there, to start to digest. Because if you just eat first, this is going to go into an environment that's dry and cause the food to stick to your walls and just kind of like gather there and not, you know what I mean? Not get out of there, okay? It's a process. So yeah, you're welcome. Drink water. That's what I do. So I drink water like 20 or 30 minutes before I eat. If you get a nice little bottle like this, it being bright and blue like this helps me. I look over like, it's like, drink me, drink me. Those little nasty little bottles y'all drink, I hate to call them nasty, but it's soft and squishy. Please stop drinking from those bottles. That's one thing I do about my videos. I encourage people to get good stainless steel water bottles. First of all, it's cheaper, okay? Get you a water bottle. You can get this right from my Amazon site. Get you a water bottle, get you a filter, okay? I have filters that I, use, and they work, because when I do not change my filter in time, I'll break out. I'll break out somewhere. And I say, oh, because I have hard water in my house. And so one thing my skin tells me is if I am in contact with metal. My hair, like if I don't filter my water, the metals will actually come out on my hair and break out my neck. It's just that serious. I'm just so in tune with my body. So as soon as I changed my filter, then everything started to heal. So that's cheaper, okay, than buying all of these plastic bottles. Now, of course, for emergencies, of course, have water. I'm not saying that. But drink from your stainless steel bottle every day. And keep the water for like, emergencies, or for like if you're going out. And of course, you don't want a big heavy bottle like this. Yeah, so you have filters in your house, yeah. And I get Brita. Brita filters are great. They have the type that can actually go on your sink, like your spigot on your sink, or your faucet rather. They have those, but I like the pitcher, okay? And I do the best because the pitcher, of course, is plastic. But at least I'm not drinking from plastic all day. And you'll see a big difference. Like if you stop drinking from plastic, you'll see a big difference in your gut as well, because you're not drinking all of that. Okay, let's keep it real, okay? So the bottles, like a lot of people, if you get plastic bottles, my brain is like firing off. Boom, boom. Because I'm like, oh, okay, I need to say this. Okay, so let me calm it down for a minute. All right, so when you buy your water bottles, okay, your plastic bottles, just know they come from plants. They come from not plants, but warehouses. Those warehouses are very hot, okay? So that bottle has melted, the plastic has leaked into your water. So when you drink it, that goes through your lymphatic system, and it releases estrogen. Now remember, I said estrogens are bad in high doses. And I also said estrogen, your liver gets rid of estrogen. So you're actually bogging down your liver because you're drinking all of this, estrogen water. I hate to say it. They call it xenoestrogens when it's coming from plastic. And so it reads in our body as regular estrogen. Then when you come home, you keep your water bottles in your hot car. I've seen people have the water bottles in their trunk. Well, honey, your car is hot in the trunk. You got your engine, you just got all of that stuff, and it's heating up your water. So you're taking that water from your trunk and you're drinking it back, and you're just drinking all of this estrogen, which is throwing off your hormones, throwing off everything, and causing you to have a big stomach, and you didn't even know that it's from your water. Yeah. So the way that you can dip and dodge that, get you a nice little water bottle like this, stainless steel, and drink your water like that. Do your best. It's levels to this. I'm not here to make you feel bad. I'm only here to inform you. And when you know better, you do better. I didn't know that. Somebody had to tell me that. Of course, they have the BPA-free, yeah, it's levels to this. I started off with the BPA free, but I had to stop because I put lemon, lime, and I put fruit in my water. So the fruit is going to eat away at that plastic, and then I'm still drinking it. And after a while, you have to change those bottles, okay? Even though they're reusable, I would say change them every few months because they break down. Especially if you're not filtering your water, you're putting tap water or... And honey, please do not fill this with plastic bottled water. That defeats the purpose. Because I know that's what somebody's going to say. Oh, you know what? I'll just put 2 or 3 plastic bottles, fill this up, and I'll be straight. No. That's not what you do. You're going to go ahead. You're going to get you a Brita filter. Invest in yourself, people. Because who else is going to invest in you but yourself, okay? Invest in yourself. Get you a Brita filter. Filter your water, get you a nice little $20. That's what this is worth. This is what this costs, about 20 bucks, okay? And put your water in there and keep it moving. You'll feel better. You'll lose some weight only because the estrogens are lowering in your body. And that is a tip. What y'all guys thought I was going to talk about? Eat less fat? That's another thing, people. You're not eating enough fat. Oh, yes, in this holistic realm, there's so many things you don't know. They're teaching us that fat makes us fat. No, sugar makes us fat. Fat helps us to burn fat, okay? And I'm talking about like your avocados, your olive oil, you know, your good fats out here. Yeah, look it up. Look up good fats to eat. No, fat does not make us fat. So don't do low-fat mayo. Don't do low-fat cheese. Get the full fat. If you're going to eat it, get the full fat. Because that reduced fat is not good for us. Usually reduced fat means more sugar. Look at the box. Look at the jar. Look at your low-fat products. And see that what they do, they take away the fat, but they put more sugar in it. You don't have to just, you can fact check me. You know, I'm Miss Fact Checker. You know what I mean? If it's low sodium, it's more sugar. You get what I'm saying? Case in point, I used to think that, you know, I was like, you know what? I love chips. And this is what I did. I would get the no salt chips. Utz has a brand of no salt. So guess what I used to do? Because it was no salt, guess what I naturally did with those chips? Take a wild goose guess. I'll wait. I ate more. Okay? I said, oh, this ain't no better. This is worse than me eating the regular Ruffles. Because I sat there and ate more because the salt, it was no salt. Okay? Am I saying that, oh, the salt is better than the no salt? No. But what I am saying is this. The salt being in your snack is going to cause you to what? Drink more water. And you're not going to eat as many. It is what it is. So just don't do it. But chips ain't good. I cut out chips. I'm going to tell you why I really cut out chips. Because my dad, he went with the Lord just about a few years ago. But he did come to me in a dream. Because one thing my father did is he ate unhealthy. He had hot dogs as his diet, chips, corn curls, corn chips. I mean, that was my buddy, you know, when I would go over his house, that's all we would eat. You know, he would have like all this juice, and I would just have great times with my father, but his diet sucked. And so I had a dream one night, because my dreams are awesome, because I get those deep, deep sleeps, okay, because of the way I eat and what I do. And so, you know, when your family comes to you, they don't talk. They just, it's just like a vibe. I don't know if you ever experienced it, but it's a wonderful experience if you got along with the person, you know, whatever. But anyway, I don't want to spook you guys out. So if you're spooked out, this is your time to leave the video, okay? Because I got to tell this testimony. So yeah, my dad came to me in my dream, and he had chips. He actually was eating chips, just chips. He was. And I just got a feeling he was telling me, do not eat chips anymore. I had just eaten chips that day. I took my sugar, and my sugar was a little high, and I was going through some things because I went through a lot. And you know, sometimes when you go through some things, the first medicine that you go to is, of course, food, because food is medicine. And so once he told me that and I got up, I said, you know what? My dad told my husband, my father came to me in my dream and told me not to eat chips anymore. And I said, this is weird because the man ate chips all the time when he was alive. And it's funny that he's telling his daughter this after he's gone with God. And I said, okay, I'm done. And I have not touched them since. And I'm so glad he did that, or that dream came to me, because chips are awful. They're awful. I mean, they spike the sugar. They're, you know, if you eat them, they're going to spike your sugar to the point where your fat is going to be just stuck on you forever. It's going to make everything worse. Everything you're trying to do, it's going to outdo it. So don't think, oh, you know what, let me have some chips real quick before I work out. Because I know a lot of people want to work out too when they want to lose weight. Okay? No, you just eat like a little tiny meal, not a salad, guys. I'm going to tell you, the more activity you have, the more you have to eat. You got to eat, okay? Because people starve themselves and they exercise and they stay exactly the same weight. I was one of them. I would basically eat low carb, not eat, exercise, and wonder why I just basically lost 5 pounds. It's because I wasn't eating enough. The more activity you have, it's going to heighten up that metabolism. Don't be scared to eat. Now, am I saying eat fried chicken and Asian food? No, I'm saying, you know, if you have a salad, you can have a piece of sourdough bread, a little bit, and then work out. Because the working out is going to help. First of all, you ate something, so your workout is going to be better versus you working out on an empty stomach. You just don't do that. That's not a good thing, because when you're working out on an empty stomach, guess what you're going to be circulating? Stress hormones. And what did I say stress hormones do? Stress hormones are going to make you store fat. So it's like, that's why you're not losing weight. Who did I just help by telling that? Did I help somebody? Okay. So if you need more support on this topic, and I know it like the back of my hand, I'm passionate about this topic because your gut is an indicator of your wellness. A lot of people, I mean, I didn't understand that when they said that having a big gut can lead to a heart attack or a stroke. I didn't understand that because I was like, well, what does your stomach have to do with your heart? It has everything to do with it, because it's saying that your hormones and everything is out of whack. Your liver is not going to be functioning well if you have a big stomach. It just doesn't. It doesn't work that way. Okay? And so if you're real big around here, right up under your chest, that's your liver. If you're big around your pelvic area, that's your reproductive system. And more than likely, you're bloated fully, top and bottom. So some things really need to be addressed, and there's some great things that you can do that I have not mentioned on this video, and it's individualized, so it depends on who you are. Okay? One thing does not fit everyone when you're holistic. That's why I love holistic alternatives, because what works for me may not work for you, but there is something that can be done. Okay? Sometimes our doctors, you know, they're not trained in nutrition. And so that's the first thing, is being holistic. We attack how you eat every day. Okay? And so you need more vitamins, you need more nutrients. You got to make sure your electrolytes are correct as well, because sometimes when we are trying our best to exercise, or we're omitting foods, we're also omitting key nutrients, key vitamins. Okay? And that will help you to get, you know, smaller stomachs, but you're not eating those and you're not taking it in, so your body is coursing what? Stress hormones. Okay? Which brings me around to that sleep, people. Got to get that good sleep. And if you're watching this and you have problems with sleeping, make sure you get a 101. And no, I'm not going to tell you to take melatonin. Oh my gosh, so many people are taking melatonin. It's a trip. And you're giving your children melatonin, which is not giving them a fighting chance. And that's why our children are all kind of all over the place, because they're not sleeping. It's so sad, okay? So yes, Get in touch with me if you're having problems with anything I've talked about today. Thank you so much to everyone who has donated. Thank you so much to all the people who has joined. Thank you. I see you guys coming through. Also, thank you so much for everyone who commented, shared, and hit those heart buttons, because you helped me get through this video. When I see those hearts, it's saying that I'm connecting with you guys. And that's all I want to do is connect. Thank you so much. You guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you next time.